Hi, everybody. Very good day to you. Today, basically, what we are going to run through, right, is the agenda that you actually see down here, right, is how Sophos MTR can actually help your organization. And before we jump right in, we wanted to share with you some of the common cybersecurity incidents that most organizations actually face. So we'll touch a bit on that. Four different cases that we're going to talk about. And after that, right, we can actually see how Sophos and TR team can help in each of those cases that we have identified. Now, the next part of it is going to be a sample case that I wanted to share with you is how a ransomware attack was stopped right at the start of this particular incident when the customers sign up with our Sophos MTR service. And to close off the presentations, I'm going to touch on this MTR connectors. So in short, what it means is the MTR team basically is looking at incidents, suspicious activities that is happening on your endpoint, right? But what we really want to empower our MTR team is to collect information that we are seeing both at the network layers and also at the cloud layers. The cloud layer simply means is that if you have invested virtual instances in whether Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud Platform, right, we can correlate security incidents that could have been passed to or from your cloud infrastructures back to your organization. So this is basically what we're going to touch on. Now, let's look at a survey that we have conducted early part of this year. About 5,000 IT managers across 26 countries. Now, when we actually look at the numbers here, it's pretty staggering. It's because we are looking at more than half of the correspondents reported that they have been hit by some form of ransomware, right? Last year itself, right, in the year 2020. And the other scary numbers that we are looking at, right, is the 73% that you see on the right-hand side is the attack actually was successful in terms of data has been encrypted. So customers are left in the dilemma of getting the data back through their backup if they have the recent backup itself, or they probably has to pay the ransoms to get the data back. So these are just some of the numbers. Now let's look at what are the common cybersecurity incidents challenges that many organizations are facing today, right? The first actually is what we call waiting too long to react. What do I mean by that? So there are couples of scenarios that we have actually seen for many of our customers, right? The first of it is what we call the lack of context or lack of urgency. So we usually have this tendency to say that, hey, the security solution actually detected something, right? So I should have a peace of mind because it has been detected, right? So why should I be drilling down into what this particular detection is all about and stuff like this, right? It gives people that kind of a so-called a comfort zone, right? The second part actually is that attacks actually hits at inopportune times, meaning to say is that, you know, when there is a cyber criminals, right, hiding in your environment itself, they pretty much want to stay under the radar. So what it means actually is when they are testing a defenses, right, they probably want to look at, you know, timing where your office ends work at about 6 p.m. They probably will start their activities probably around 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. Those kind of timing, right, where there is lesser activities within your office environment, right? The third that we have actually seen is usually understaffed or inexperienced teams, right? So this is probably a massive amount of our customers actually experience this. Meaning to say is that when there is a detection, right, using any of the security solutions itself, right, does your team actually has that capabilities or know-how, right, to looks at it, and starts building up the different type of processes in place, right, to deal with this type of detection. When you have this detection, what's next, right? Does your team actually has that kind of expertise to start drilling down into the different types of detections that is popping up everywhere within your organization itself? Again, a false sense of security. That means that you saw a detection, right? It has been dealt with. So why should I be spending time looking into those detections that has been dealt with, right? The final piece actually is what we call the teams are actually overwhelmed, right? So, security team today wearing multiple hats, so they have to run sometime, right? Help desk, and they have to run some other tasks as well within your organization. So waiting too long to take to react to a security incident itself usually is the one of the key challenges. The second thing that we have actually seen here, right, is what we call declaring victory or mission accomplished, right? When there's a detections that that's been presented in your security solution itself. What usually happens, right, is the lack of monitoring mechanism or processes within your organization. Because again, it is a false sense of the security. When you actually look at particular detections on your, let's say, your endpoint console, right, you see that a Trojan has been detected. So to me, or to many of us, it has been detected. So I mean, why do I want to actually look at it, right? If there's a suspicious activity that was being detected, like credential theft or lateral movement happening in your environment, right? So you might actually spend, some time to actually look at it. I triage the current situation, doing deeper analysis. I will contain the particular endpoint in questions. I will do the neutralizations, means I'll do the full cleanup, right? So to us is that, yes, we have actually thwarted this particular attack, but however, right, think about it in a deeper state itself. The cyber criminals might be actually using this opportunity to just do some testing of the defenses and to see how you are going to deal with this particular type of a detection, right? So in the actual case itself, the attack patterns might change to another way of so-called testing and your defense again, right? Or even launch an attack, within your organization. So the key statement here today actually is going to be, right, do not be too complacent that you have detected and thwarted one attack, but have an open mind and looks at it to see whether, does the attack pattern actually change over time within your organization. That could indicate a second wave actually is coming. The third of it is the most important one, is relying on incomplete visibility. So one of the key items that we have actually seen, right, and have actually talked to many of our customers is the data collection. So when we talk about MTR, right, which is managed threat response, what we are really looking at is that based on the data collections that we have seen, right, we can actually build up a picture to understand whether is there an imminent attack that is coming or an attack is already in progress. So having said that, right, the data that is going to be collected is utmost important. What actually happens to many of our other customers, right, is they are relying on a particular, pillar of detection, let's say a machine learning. So when machine learning actually has been deployed within their organization itself, right, it basically runs through and tells you is that, hey, these files look suspicious. So when you have a large numbers of files that is being detected as suspicious, and when you actually look at it, they are all false positive. And it will also give the people the kind of alert fatigue. That means is that they will soon have that mentality. Everything is just false positive, so don't bother looking at it. So again, this will be a big challenge, right? How are we going to reduce noise within your environment? Now, the final piece down here, right, is we probably have this assumption is that it's okay, we have the expertise to actually deal with it within my organization itself, right? I don't need any other people to help me with, but couples of surveys that we have run over the years itself, right, we have actually seen is that 34% at least, right, a third of our interviewee actually says is that, the biggest challenge today that they have, right, is the unskilled staff, right? When an incident actually happens itself, they do not know what to do, right? And the other staggering numbers that we actually seen down here, right, 65% of organizations have somehow or somewhat outsource this type of monitoring service, right, to external vendors because they simply do not have that kind of a skill set, right, to deal with these cybersecurity incidents. So with these four cases that I just shared with you, right, and mostly customers are facing this type of challenges. So how does Sophos MTR can actually help your organization, right? So introduce to you our Sophos Managed Threat Response, which is our MTR service. So this is basically a backend service with our team of analysts that works 24/7, 365 days. It's a proactive service that basically looks at security incidents on your central dashboard. So by doing that, they will also conduct so-called letless threat hunting, meaning is that if I don't see anything right happening within your environment, I will actually take a particular case to say that, currently there's this what do you call it, a particular vulnerabilities within your environment, and these are the IOCs that we should actually look at, right? They can actually do this form of letless threat hunting within the organization. Of course, when there is an active incident, right, these guys will jump straight into looking into what exactly is happening within your environment, right? So all these are actually built on top of our protections that you see on the extreme right here. You still remember the reducing noise levels within your environment. So our MTR, right, actually sits on top of our Intercept X components. Our Intercept X detections components, right, actually has multi-layer of detection. What this multi-layer detection actually does is to streamline the detections into more specific areas. So you can think of it as like, we can do detection in exploit detections capabilities, attacks related to ransomware using our CryptoGuard technology. And we can do, credential theft protection where we see, stealings of users' credential processes happening within your endpoints and on your server itself. So by doing all these streamlining detections, right, it basically gives more visibilities to our MTR team when we actually see any of these detections happening in your environment. So if we see some credential theft being triggered, what does it tell you, right? It basically tells us is that there might be, your environment might be compromised, right, to a certain level, and someone is in your environment that is trying to steal your password. So by having a so-called full-fledged detections capabilities, right, we are expecting reducing our noises in your environment, right? And what exactly is the difference between Sophos Managed Threat Response as compared to other services that you have heard out there, right? The key statements here is that we investigate suspicious activity, so not just the detection. The other one actually is that we doesn't stop at just the notifications, right? We take action. So what do we mean by we take action? When I say action, is that during your onboarding with Sophos MTR service, right, you will have to choose the different response modes. So in this, I showed you the 3 different types of response modes that you can choose to work with our MTR team, right? The most important one is going to be the collaborate and the authorize. So collaborate, you can actually choose this if you do have your own security team or outsource to your so-called data centers vendors that is managing probably your network security or endpoint security. So you have those contacts. You want the contacts to work with us directly to do the containment and neutralizations whenever we see an active incident, an active threat through our Sophos Central dashboard, right? You can choose to let us do collaborations with your team. Or if you do not have such a team available, right, the options called authorize is meaning giving our MTR team, right, the full authorization to do both containment and also the neutralizations. And once we have actually plotted the attack, and we will actually send you a report to tell you what are the action items that we have actually done, right, to clean up, not only to contain the attack itself, but also to clean up your entire environment, right? So this response mode actually is something that is very different, and we are actually proud to actually present it to all our customers who are looking at our Sophos MTR service, right? This is what we call, we do not just do detections, we take action. Now, I just wanted to share with you a particular case study that one of our customers who actually came on board to our MTR service. So when these customers came on board with our MTR service itself, right, we were actually running through our health check together with the customer. And while we were doing that, while we were onboarding the customer, right, our MTR team basically was already actively looking at the customer central dashboard. And what they actually found that there was some activities actually is happening, some suspicious activities happening at the customer's environment, right, where they saw a malicious PowerShell script that was running on one of the particular endpoint. How the PowerShell script actually came in, right, is through a URL that is typically it's a fake URL, right, that brings the users to say that, hey, you need to update this Adobe Flash components, right? So the user unsuspectedly actually clicks on the link and downloads the updates. So it actually went to that particular fake URL. And that basically triggers the PowerShells to be downloaded onto the computer. And if we have not detected these malicious PowerShell activities on the endpoint, right, what is going to happen actually is, there's a ransomware attack that will be triggered. So with our MTR team working at the back end, looking at the suspicious activities that was triggered for this particular end user, right, we actually stopped the attack right at the very early stages. And the best part of it actually is that we actually send these information back to our Sophos Labs, right, to say that, hey, Sophos Labs, these are the different IOCs that we have detected if we do not stop the particular attack, and we can actually add these information to our detection, right? So what does the customers get in return when we have actually completed the so-called the attack? We have contained the malicious activities. We have actually done up the cleanup, right? An email actually will be sent over to our end user, right? To basically tells you in very high technical details of what this malicious activity actually is all about, and the different time that what we have actually our MTR team, right, has actually taken, right, to basically stop this particular attack, right? So it's a very detailed email summary that will be sent to our end user. The final piece basically I want to touch on is this is what we call the MTR connectors. So MTR can be only successful if we have data collections from multiple sources, right? I think every one of us do agree. If we are just having the data set that we collected from the endpoint itself, right, we probably will take a longer time to identify, what exactly is happening, because we only see silo. That means we see this endpoint by endpoint. So what we have done today, right, is through our central dashboard reporting functionality, we have added our network firewall, which is our HG firewall, and our cloud optics products. So if you have our Azure, AWS, Google Cloud's platform, right, all these instances, reporting information can also be channeled back to our Sophos central dashboard reporting feature. Right. The whole idea behind it is that our MTR team actually has a single source of reporting repository where they can run threat hunting analysis based on the details that we have on the endpoint, firewall, and cloud. Right. We are actually introducing other sources that you see down here is, typically it's like Active Directory sources where you have the field or this login. So this is something that we are planning actually to add in the future. Right. Final slides of the day. The whole idea why we want to add these MTR connectors, right, is we can collect information from the endpoints to the networks to the virtual instance that you have. So many organizations have some form of a SIEM solutions, right? But the challenge of our SIEM solutions, right, is that they are collecting massive amount of data from everywhere within the network environment itself, right? And then they probably will require you to do the correlations yourself, all right? Whereas for Sophos, our MTR connectors basically is a tool that will be used by our MTR team, right, to collect information from multiple sources, right, through a single interface. So with that, I will conclude my presentation. So thank you very much for your time today.